Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. Today we are here for a webinar session to discuss oxidative stress management. I am Ms. Sharifa here from School of Bioscience, and we are having our panel here, Dr. Pechi Ayyappan, who is a senior lecturer from School of Bioscience. Here in MAHSA University, under School of Bioscience, we are having four programs, which includes Bachelor of Biomedical Science, Diploma in Medical Laboratory Technology, Bachelor of Biomedical Science ODL program, which is an online distance learning program, and we are also having Bachelor in Biotechnology. Here is some introduction about our panel, Dr. Pechi Ayyappan. Dr. Ayyappan has obtained his PhD from Bharathidasan University, which is located in India. Besides that, Dr. Ayyappan also has published a book and his research finding has been published in a peer-reviewed journal. Now I would like to welcome our panel, Dr. Ayyappan, to start the session on oxidative stress management. Please, sir, you may start the session.
So good afternoon.
Yes, sir,
You
you may start the session now.
I'm very happy to share my view on oxidative stress management through this webinar program. So first we have to understand about and why this topic oxidative stress. So today a lot of disease is because of only related to oxidative stress. Even though a lot of the medical notable symptoms and the pathological conditions. For example, several diseases like diabetes, mellitus, and cardiovascular disease, and atherosclerosis, and like so on. But even though any medical conditions as reasons behind the causes of such a type of the disorder, in which oxidative stress as one of. Therefore, today the topic to cover how to manage the stress. Okay, through this webinar program. So I hope you may learn some information about how to prevent the stress by through oxidative. Okay, so the today topic learn about accident and where it comes from and how it causes a severe damage to our cells and tissue as well as organ, and what is the role of antioxidants, and how to prevent the stress by through some of food diets. So with the reference of the topic overview, I would like to session. So first we have to understand about what does meaning of oxidative stress. It's very simple. The imbalance is between oxidant and antioxidant. So let's understand about first what is the role of oxidant. It's released by our cellular process. Okay, as a very essential the oxidant to regulate our cellular mechanisms. Our optimal metabolism of the cells has need such a type of oxidant. Parallelly, so our production of oxidants can be controlled by antioxidant. So the balances between oxidant and antioxidants is really happen in the normal cellular process. When the level of the oxidants level, for example, free radicals in the pictures below I highlighted here, when excessive accumulation of the free radicals in our cellular system and it is not equal to the level of antioxidants. So it causes or disturb the steady state redox balances. So totally disturb the optimal metabolism of the cell. It's a directly that changes the cellular regulation as well as severe damage to the cells. Initially does not, but The triggering actions continuously has lead to causes severe damage by the chronic conditions, so severely affect our organ also too. So generally our cells have endogenous antioxidants, and then when we are taken the food via the exogenous antioxidants as possible to neutralize the impact exerted from our cell, particularly the oxidants. Okay, this is one of the important informations about the oxidative stress, as means the imbalance between oxidant and antioxidant, the chronic conditions of the free radical released by our cellular metabolisms disturb our steady state redox balances, hence lead to the pathophysiological conditions in our body. With the note of, I would like to move on. So please understand about the differential between eustress and stress. Normally use stress as need unless our cellular process will not happen properly. So here I mentioned about a lot of accidents like singlet oxygens, hydrogen peroxide, nitric oxide. Okay, so the yellow color highlighted in the picture, all are called as free radicals or accidents. When exposure of this low level in particular specific target, so well maintaining the redox signaling. Therefore, the cells in response to those oxidants, thereby the cells become adapted, thereby well control of the physiological role of the cells. Whereas when this molecule produced by our cellular process increasing the level of those oxidants, it will be sink in the cells and then systematically to affect the entire organ. All our systems can be suffered by the excessive production of the radicals come from our cellular metabolisms. So that is called as oxidative stress. Okay, use stress as means, so our cellular mechanisms as need such a type of oxidants. Therefore, the cells uh, having the good health, unless excessive accumulation of these molecules, it will be causes pathological condition to our cells. Okay, so now we are understood about eustress and stress. And so here the slides are showing us, okay, the free radicals as one of it is accidents. It is really toxic to the cells, but so the question is arising whether oxidants is a good or bad. So the a certain level of oxidants as good. When exceed the level, the cellular metabolisms can be disturbed. So naturally, the free radicals are very essential to kill pathogens or microbes. Whenever we are our body exposed with the microorganisms, where we are eating the food and then water and then directly exposed to environment, so the pathogens can easily enter to our system and cause the disease. So naturally, our systems can protect use with such a type of free radicals. In view of this as good message, so the free radicals as good. But what happened? The level is increasing. Our cellular process will be disturbed. That may lead to causes the pathological condition. And what is the characteristic nature of these free radicals? It is a really unstable one, unstable oxygen molecule. It is very short-lived. Then what happened? For their stabilization, it's the need the electrons. Okay, it's obtained from for the stabilizations electron obtained from, okay, the nearby molecules. Okay, for example, lipid and protein and DNA. Okay, from our cells, the biomolecules provide the electron for the stabilization of the free radicals. And once the biomolecules donated their electron for the stabilization of oxidants, what happened? That molecule can lose their stabilization. For the stabilization, it's a require electron obtained from other. So likewise, this triggering action, the striking actions, as called is a oxidative stress. Okay, so mostly oxygen's byproduct involved in these reactions. All right. And then this is the pictures highlight about, okay, excessive free radicals, what causes the consequences. Okay, this picture is highlighting about the normal oxygens. Okay, um, and the oxygen's free radicals. So the outer orbital, the one unpaired electron. So you may looking on this picture. Okay, further, okay, the stabilization, it's require the oxygen, sorry, electrons from the biomolecules like a DNA, lipid, and a protein. So by the way, this triggered actions continuously, so hitting on our cells and tissue as well as organ. So hence the organ lost the function. When long-term impact of the free radicals, what are the consequences causes to our system? It causes structural defect at mitochondrial DNA and alteration of the several enzyme functions and also cellular structures and also involving in aberration in the gene expression. So by the way, it causes a lot of disease like diabetes mellitus, atherosclerosis, even hypertension, maybe as one of releasing the free radicals from our cells, overexpression of the free radicals, and then cancers also. Right. What is the free radicals? If attack the lipid DNA and protein, so the mode of actions here I mentioned. So when the lipid molecule undergoes this oxidative stress, it's immediately damage the membrane of cell. The lipid can be destabilized. So as a result, the increasing the membrane fluidity as well as permeability, therefore the cell lost their, all the function of. Whereas on the DNA, so it's directly oxidizing deoxyribose. So hence it leads to make a break on the DNA strand and or otherwise maybe removing the nucleotide from the DNA molecule or maybe changes the base modification of the DNA. While the replication process can carried out by DNA polymerase enzyme, at the time maybe add wrong nucleotide as lead to the causes of the mutation. If any mutations happen in any functional genome, functional gene who's involving the regulation of the cell cycle, so the genes may be lost the function and lead to causes the cancer. Similarly, the protein so undergoes amino acid modification, and this molecule interact with the amino acids molecule, hence alter the protein charges as well as to inactivate enzymes, which is very essential the metabolic process of the cell or otherwise the protein's molecule is susceptibility to the proteolytic reaction, therefore degrade proteins molecule fastly. So for those proteins as very essential the cellular metabolisms or cellular process as well as the proteins molecule can be fragmented and then to produce the peptide chain fragmentation. So this slides showing us the sources of oxidants in which one of the superoxide anion it is released by auto-oxidation reactions. The oxygen's molecule undergoes auto-oxidation steps, hence releasing the superoxide anion. Probably it's come from the mitochondrial respiratory chain as well as the phagocytic nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate oxidase enzyme. In the earlier slide, I mentioned about so our phagocytic cells protect our systems against inverted pathogens because of this enzyme but naturally as need, but when exit this level as lead to the causes of the oxidative stress. So the human body averagely to generate reactive oxygen species is around 5 gram per day under dynamic condition. This toxic effect is to protect the body against the microbial infection. So when the level is too very high, so as lead to the causes harmful effect on the protein, so thereby to causes the denaturation, as well as to release Fe2 plus ion from sulfur's molecule, particularly from the protein and ferritine's molecule, as well as directly to involve the lipid peroxidation. These are all is effect is caused by the superoxide anion. So hence the proteins and the lipids molecule lost their all the function. This is another oxidant, hydrogen peroxide. It is released by aerobic metabolism of the cells and the tissue. The molecular oxygens lost their oxygens, generating the singlet oxygens. The superoxide dismutase enzymes naturally to removal this toxic effect. But what happened is releasing other the free radical likes hydrogen peroxide. So superoxide dismutase enzymes as one of the important enzymes to produce the hydrogen peroxide from the singlet oxygen. So this is but damage the cells at a literally the low concentration of the hydrogen peroxide is around 10 micromole. So hydrogen peroxide is directly to hit or directly to attack the DNA molecule. So hence the DNA, the changes or the base modification and error in the DNA replication process and some of important genes lost their functions So subsequently, they lead to the causes several pathological disorder. So lipid is a soluble and to diffuse across peptide to initiate cellular effect as cell shape changes, initiation of in cells. This molecule is causes a lot of several disorder, right? So this is the slides showing us the level of hydrogen peroxide in our cells under the stress conditions as well as eustress conditions. Normal cellular process, this kind of free radicals as very essential. Okay, the cells become adapted, thereby the cellular process happen regularly, well manner. But when this level is exceed so more than 1 micromole, then lead to the causes of oxidative stress, like it's inducing inflammation reaction, and then fibrogenesis process, and to induce the tumor formation, and arresting the apoptosis process. Cell death is apoptosis is a cell death process. All this because of the excessive level of the hydrogen peroxide is produced from our cellular system. As a hydroxyl radical, it's a neutral form of hydroxide ion. It strongly react with DNA, proteins, lipids, and the carbohydrate, and it causes the oxidative stress higher to our cells. It is formed by two reactions. One is Fenton reactions, and another one is Haber-West reactions. Okay, so here hydrogen peroxide react with the metal ions on the different proteins like ferritin and ceruloplasmins is one of that today I consider this as example. So this one is molecules, yes, right. And the singlet oxygens already produced, yes. So from the singlet oxygens again converted into the free radicals because of this Fe2 plus and the copper 2 plus ions. Okay, another way, the reactions between the superoxide already released as well as the hydrogen peroxides all combine together to release new radicals as hydroxy radical. The reaction is Haber-West reactions. And another source of oxidants to involve oxidative stress is peroxy radical. It is produced by the protonation of the superoxides molecule. About 0.3% of the total singlet oxygen cytosolids of a typical cell is in the form of protonated form. It initiates fatty acid peroxidation, as means lipid peroxidation, as well as lead to the causes of the tumor later on. And another oxidant is ozone. It is a powerful oxidant. It is produced by our normal cellular process by water oxidation reactions, which plays an important role in the inflammation. So it can form free radicals and other reactive intermediates also. It's directly oxidizing the biological molecules. So lipid peroxidation and oxidize is all a functional group of the proteins in the aldehyde and sulfidyl. These are where is ozone, and the proteins molecule totally lost all the physiological actions. And it's directly attack the nucleic acids also, and it causes chromosomal aberration, um, as well as another one more oxidants is a hypochlorous acid. It is a strong accident reactive species. The picture is highlighted how the hypochlorous acid is produced by the myeloperoxidase enzymes. Already, as we know that molecular oxygens lost their electron to produce singlet oxygens by NADPH oxidase enzymes in the part of mitochondria, and superoxide dismutase enzymes to produce the hydrogen peroxide. From the hydrogen peroxide to produce hypochlorous acid by myeloperoxidase enzyme, um, as well as oxidized ascorbate, urate, pyridine nucleotide, and the tryptophan. Okay, where the dial groups also this molecule can interact. So in which the coordinate amine to produce the chloramines, and the DNA, the base can form as 5-chlorodeoxycytidine. So this kind of the changes over on the DNA basis can produce the mutated impact on the cell. And the hyperchlorous acids also react with the tyrosyls group. So hence they produce the chlorinated byproduct, in which one of the chlorohydrin it's directly interact with the cholesterol and the unsaturated lipids molecule. So where exert their oxidative stress. Another reactive nitrogen species, nitric oxide or nitrogenous monoxides, also considered under the oxidative stress molecules. So nitric oxide is a radicals is produced by different type of nitric oxide produced by different type of nitric oxide synthesis enzyme. The three type of isoform of nitric oxide such as neuronal and endothelial and inducible nitric oxide synthesis enzyme. So how they produce the nitric oxide in the L-arginine converts to nitric oxide. So this is the nitric oxide by role of these enzymes. And another peroxynitrate. So it is form reactions between the singlet oxygens and the nitric oxides. The reactions between the singlet oxygens and the nitric oxide, so hence to produce the peroxynitrate. It is a highly toxic molecule and reactive with the carbon dioxide to form nitroperoxycarboxylate and peroxynitrous acid. This is also to produce free radicals and nitric oxides derivatives to directly oxidize lipids molecule and methionine and tyrosines amino acids in the part of the proteins and oxidize the DNA molecule, thereby to forming 2-nitroguanine. So hence the DNA molecule can be mutated. So nitrotyrosines is one of the best marker for the level of peroxynitrate elevation uh, as causes the severe cellular damage to our cells. Apart from that, apart from the previous slides, and then I would like to share some of informations. The endogenous source of oxidants from the various organelle. It is part of our cell system. One is mitochondria, peroxisomes, and endoplasmic reticulum. In the mitochondria, in the electron transport chain, in the particular, the complex 1 and 2 reactions, they're generating too much amount of the oxidants and other enzymes involved in the part of monoamino oxidase, alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase enzyme, glycerol phosphate dehydrogenase enzymes. When concerned about the peroxisomes, so undergoes the beta oxidation reactions of the fatty acids to produce the hydrogen peroxide as free radicals. Likewise, the other enzymes involved in the steps are aspartate oxidase, xanthine oxidase, and urate oxidase. Diamine oxidase and dial oxidase these are the enzymes in the endoplasmic reticulum as lead to the generation of the free radicals, um, notably the hydrogen peroxide by the function of diol oxidase enzyme. Others are auto-oxidation of adrenaline and prostaglandin synthesis and more action of the phagocytic cells and the inflammatory reactions as well as the mental stress and doing the excessive high level or too much exercise and frequently infections. These are all the reasons that begin the causes of elevation level of oxidants in our cells. Other sources are the reactive oxidation species. It's come from out of our body as like it's smoking the cigarette and in cosmic regions from we are getting the UV radiations and the heavy metal ions pollution in food and drinking water and the ozones and allergens and even the drugs for taken too long time and the toxins from the microorganisms and pollutant as well as the pesticide and insecticide. All these are all it's come from our environment to reach on the body. So these are all the molecules generating the reactive oxygen species. So hence the increasing the level of oxidative stress has led to the causes of several diseases. What are the molecular target of the free radicals? In purine, the hydrogen peroxide to form 8-hydrodeoxyguanine and hydroxydeoxyadenosines, diamono 4 hydroxy, formidopyrimidine. So this is all the changes of the base modification by the hydrogen peroxide to heating on the purines molecule. Similarly, pyrimidine and our important nucleic acids are the messenger RNA, where this molecule involving this kind of the free radical reactions and some of the functional RNA molecule can be degraded or otherwise do not properly the function on. Similarly, the lipids molecule, the reaction is called as lipid peroxidation, is involved by the free radicals. Already stated the lipid membrane permeability, all those effect is because of lipid peroxidation by the free radicals directly hitting on the lipids molecule. And the protein oxidation is one of the best marker understanding about the oxidative stress level. So in which one of the water resins as one of the marker for understanding about hydroxy radical oxidative stress in the cell system. Similarly, the 3-nitrotyrosines as a marker for understanding the elevation level of reactive nitrogen species. Similarly, the protein carbonide level is increased frequently can seen in Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, and other several diseases like atherosclerosis and respiratory distress syndrome and Werner syndrome. So now I would like to talk about briefly on the several metabolic disorder is because of the free radical generated by our own cell. So the free radicals such as hydrogen peroxide and then hydroxy radical and singlet oxygens and ketoaldehyde, all those it's released from the glucose by auto oxidation steps. So as we know, the diabetes mellitus is increasing the level of the glucose, okay, under the insulin deficiency. As so here the glucose molecule undergoes auto oxidation as a result releasing the excessive the free radicals. Okay, diabetes mellitus lead to increased glycolysis and to generation of the pyruvate and subsequently the raising the inner mitochondrial membrane potential. So where also the generating high level expression of the reactive oxygen species. So hence this subsequent reactions, the very soon the mitochondria lost their all the function and increasing the level of reactive oxygen species from the electron transport chains, particularly the complex 2. And next one is the Alzheimer disease. The free hydroxy free radicals are generated from hydrogen peroxide by the function of amyloid beta peptide through the metal chelator reactions. So metal chelator reactions one of the important key reactions to generate free radicals. So so once this the free radicals are released by the amyloid beta peptide, so hence the cells lost their ion pump functions and transporting glucose molecule to the cells as well as glutamate transport because this effect is caused by lipid peroxidation. So here the marker is 3-nitrotyrosines as one of the marker proteins to assessing the oxidative stress related to Alzheimer's disease. And another one is multiple sclerosis. This is generated by reactive oxygen species and microglia and macrophages. So lipid peroxidation is the major oxidative stress reactions lead to the cause of the multiple sclerosis. So hence the demyelination is impacted by this directly on our central nerve systems. So hence the nerve conductions can be impaired. And another is a cancer. So here already started. So the free radicals it changes the DNA modification as lead to causes the mutations impact on the DNA molecule. If the mutations on and the oncogenes, proto-oncogenes, and then a tumor suppressor genes, as hence the cellular regulation process can be blocked. So and so therefore rapid cell divisions and the cell divisions manner irregular. So hence this state is lead to causes the cancer. So reactive oxygen species also altering the growth signals and the gene expression, who's involving the controlling of the cellular cell cycling process. So reactive oxygen species directly damaging the DNA by through base modification and the deletion of the nucleotide, and then breaking in the DNA strand, and methylations on the DNA molecule. Either is a hyper and a hypomethylation. So whenever the DNA bases receive the methyl group, so the genes become or that regions become silent, so do not express the properly. So this is one of the reasons it's happen on a tumor suppressor gene. So the lost their cell controlling mechanisms. Hence, this is lead to the causes of the cancer. Similarly, the colon cancer. So it's because of the diets, it's naturally having certain oxidant. Otherwise, our bacterial and carcinogens also as major reasons behind the causes of the colon cancer. So here, increasing the level of nitric oxide, it directly the changes the DNA bases to form 8-oxo dideoxyguanidines molecule. So this is a major reasons the mutating in this particular nucleotide. So what are the important genes in these locations will be disturbed. And then the next one is breast and prostate cancer, because of probably the overexpression of oxidative stress. So here, oxygen radicals generated by thymidine phosphorylase enzymes on 2-deoxyderibose on sorry 2-deoxyderibose phosphate molecule, and the lactoperoxidase enzymes from the hormone 17 beta estradiol, so generate phenoxy radical. So later it causes the breast cancer. Similarly, the prostate cancer, it caused by a P66 SHC proteins molecule. So increased level of reactive oxygen species, so directly to increasing the level of P66 SH proteins molecule. Hence, the deregulation of the signal transduction pathway, and this process lead to overproduction of cellular process. Um, so this is one of the reasons behind the causes of the prostate cancer. Okay, so as well as the cells become resistant against the programmed cell death process. So this is because of and the overexpression of NADPH oxidase 1 enzymes. Okay, all this experiment done in animal model system. The prostate cancer is because of overexpression of NADPH oxidase 1. As we know, these enzymes as important for our natural protective mechanisms against invaded pathogens. But when the level is increasing and then the cells become resistant against the apoptosis process. So this is one of the peculiar phases in cancer cell migration and to reach the meta stage of the cancer. Similarly, the lung and the bladder cancer is because of DNA molecule mutated by the reactive oxygen species. So the persons have the smoking habit, so increasing the level of reactive oxygen species more. So the chances more high in the persons, the tenfold higher than normal one. And another one is the bladder cancer. So it is induced by nitric oxide to stimulate the matrix metalloproteinase enzyme, particularly to affect the serum prolidase activities, lower level of the plasma protein, and then total diag groups and protein bound diag groups, and increasing the level of the protein carbonyl group. All is in the back of the bladder cancer. All is produced by the nitric oxide free radicals. And next one is atherosclerosis. It's blocking in the artery. So endothelial cells and smooth muscle cells and macrophages involving in these reactions, releasing the free radicals, hence the formation of atherosclerosis. And and the endothelial dysfunction is because of uh, the reactive oxygen species increased as a result increased endothelial permeability, and upregulation of endothelial adhesions molecule, as well as the causes inflammatory reactions on the arterial wall. So here, some of this point is very important. This molecule involving the monocytes by the oxidative, under the oxidative stress conditions, the forming the foam cells, as means the cells inside have lipid ladens as a lipid droplet, so which is accumulate in the arterial wall and then form as plaque, and later soon the causes of uh, atherosclerosis. Similarly, it is accumulated in the joint area, particularly the synovial fluid, so where the causes the inflammatory reactions. So this is slides are showing to us the various oxidants and expressed from the different cellular um, systems and the enzymes, and severely damage to our tissue. Okay, right. And finally, I would like to conclude my topic. So up to now, we learn about what are the different sources of oxidant, and the molecular target of the free radicals hitting on our major biomolecules. So the cell lost their all the cell lost their functions, hence lead to the causes of lot of several pathological disorder. So here I would like to share the information about how to prevent the oxidative stress. So we have a lot of the possibility, the in which one of the lowering the exposure of environmental pollutant. This is one of the possibility to control of oxidative stress, as well as increasing the level of endogenous and the exogenous antioxidants level. By through food, we can possible to increasing the level of endogenous and exogenous antioxidants level, and lowering the generation of oxidative stress by stabilizing the mitochondrial energy production and efficiency as good way to control of oxidative stress. All the last point is very related to the physiological action of the mitochondria. The first two we can ability to the control as easily our life. So what are the possibility to control of oxidative stress? We have a lot of choice one way. So first we have to consider our sugar level. So balancing the sugar level is important. To avoid infrequent the meal and then eating the large food, so it may possible to minimize the over consumption of the sugar and accumulating in our body system. And to avoid frequent intake of alcohol, as well as the frequent infection like cold must be avoided. So we try to understand what is the reasons behind the frequent infections, particularly the cold. So this is one of the possibility to avoid. For example, these organisms if we enter and then the phagocytic cells uh, generating uh, of free radicals. So the subsequent reactions as releasing hydroxy radicals and hydrogen peroxide and so on. So this triggering actions hence causes a lot of the complications data. So we try to as much possible to control of the frequent infections in our system, and as well as to avoid over stress and free of stress as good way to maintaining our good health, and physical exercise, meditation, and enjoy and actively involve our hobbies. These are all the way of approaches to reduce our stress, as well as to avoid overconsumption of the cosmetic items. It's naturally bear with a lot of the chemicals to generate oxidative radicals as well as reactive nitrogen species, which is directly hitting our cells. Uh, to avoid our body exposed with the pollutant, as well as to avoid intake of the food where there is no the presence of the pollutant, and avoid smoking already escalated. So the smoking as the one of the major reasons or causes of the lung cancer. It's having a lot of the chemical pollutant. It's generating the reactive oxygens and nitrogen species, hence causes stress, oxidative stress. And how to the maintaining increasing the level of endo and exo antioxidants level. through food table we can able to control of. So glutathione is one of the good endogenous antioxidants, which is naturally present on the foods. Some of the example here I mentioned is asparagus, peaches, walnut, spinach, tomato, garlic, and onion, cabbage, broccoli, and avocados. Okay, so these are the food naturally having good antioxidants. So when we eat our the whenever we are our food will having those and the fruits and vegetables. So by the way, we have to increasing the level of antioxidant. So this antioxidants is uh, is direct. It's instead of the radicals getting the electron from our biomolecules. This everything all neutralized by this antioxidant. Another way, today a lot of the feed supplement commercially available. So as a best antioxidants, in which one of N-acetylcysteines, likewise the folic acids, vitamin B12, selenium, and alpha linolenic acids, and vitamin C and vitamin D, magnesium also, and the black tea naturally having certain antioxidants, polyphenolic. By the way, we can increasing our the body the level of antioxidants possible to abut the excess oxidants level in our system. Turmeric powders have the curcumin is a natural antioxidant product. Likewise, quercetin and resveratrol. Okay. And so another important information I want to share through this way and hormesis. What is the meaning of the hormesis? That is adaptive responses. It's a very important role in a normal cellular process. For example, look at the slides. The normal cells undergo stress conditions, maybe die. Otherwise, the normal cells, adapt to the stress conditions. It can be mediate a lot of cell signaling molecule. Okay, so for example, to induce abaptist process, the well regulating and maintaining the protective substances against um, uh, uh, any strangers molecules. As all this is everything's because of well maintaining of the hormesis. For example, the normal cells under the stress conditions, thereby to mediate a lot of cell signaling process. Okay, that all very essential in the part of physiological function of the cells. Okay, so therefore the cells become okay this survived. Okay, but when this level is exceed more, that level is caused the oxidative stress. Okay, so the next slide you can easily to understand about how the plant metabolic to maintaining the hormetic pathway in order to getting good adaptive responses. By the way, to avoid over etc. oxidative stress. Okay, so here this resveratrol naturally having the CYP1 activators molecule. So this molecule to activate FOXO1 gene and this pathway. So increasing the stress level, the cells become adopt that responses. So all this cellular process very essential and crucial role for expression of important genes who's involving our the cell signaling mechanisms, right? And parallelly, it's to induce puma as this small what is this P53, the tumor suppressor proteins activator proteins molecule to control the cell cycle as well as this process to induce above this process, thereby any old cells uh, whatever the molecule showing toxic effect to our systems can be removed by uh, for example, resveratrol is naturally present in the grapes to activate a citrins molecule to activate NADP dependent acetylase enzymes. So plant metabolites one of the best way to maintaining the hormetic pathway because it induces kinases and the transcription factors. So all these are the molecule to pass the signal from one molecule to another molecule. Thereby our cellular process will regulate it. So where this molecule involved, the proper expression of the genes that encode expression of antioxidant enzymes, and the protein sufferance. What is meaning of the protein sufferance is a molecular sufferance under the stress conditions to protect the proteins molecule, and uh, as well as uh, it's a very involving a protein modification steps. All this is done only by the protein sufferance. So protein sufferance, this kind of the molecule want to be expressed. So the hormetic pathway to inducing. So hence the production of the protein sufferance to protect the proteins in any high stress conditions. Okay, so citrulline FAXO pathway, a good pathway to induce some important genes in order to the cells become as resist against the stress conditions, as well as to induce apoptosis process. All right, and exercise has got good one of the maintaining the hormesis. So whenever we are frequently doing this exercise, as a result increasing adaptive process. By the way, it is increasing free radical defense system. For example, increasing antioxidant level, by the way, reducing um, the free radical toxic effect directly on our functional molecules, as well as to reduce our lowering the metabolic rate and lower oxidation of LDL. By the way, to protect proteins and DNA. Once we reduced the free radical, by the way, we have to protect the DNA and the proteins molecule, as well as ameliorate insulin resistance and promoting antioxidant defense system. For example, if you are frequently doing the exercise, the increasing superoxide dismutase enzymes and muscles, glutathione peroxidase, and the reduced glutathione. And then antioxidants defense by chelating transition metal. In the beginning of the class, as I mentioned, the metal chelation as is to generate a lot of the free radicals. So this antioxidants are chelating the metal ions, by the way, to prevent and the transition metals, the catalyst reactions. Uh, it's preventing from catalyst reactions, production of free radicals in the cell. For example, metal chelating antioxidants such as transferrin, albumin, and cerebroplasmins avoid radical productions by inhibiting by the penta catalyzed reactions by copper and metal ion, and try to avoid emotional stress. This is one of a worst event in the back of in one of the best event uh, that may causes oxidative stress. So under stress conditions, maybe increasing the level of adrenaline and oxidation of adrenaline to release the superoxide. So hence, this once released the superoxide and subsequently releasing other free radicals. So by the way, increasing the level of oxidative stress. So emotional stress increases catecholamine metabolisms. These metabolisms releasing excessive amount of the free radicals. And today we are emotionally stressed in front of our professional life as well as academically. This is directly hitting to reducing the antioxidants level. All right. And every day good sleeping as a need minimum 7 hours. Okay, as a good sleeping 6 to 7 hours as a good sleeping. Why? Because the good sleeping to increasing uh, the level of melatonin and the antioxidant. So what is the role of the melatonin in view of to control of oxidative stress? It's to protect the nuclear and the mitochondrial DNA. So by the way, to induce the repair mechanisms. So melatonin can easily cross the cell membrane, but in whatever the brain barrier, so the melatonin can easily diffuse and itself have a lot of protection mechanisms. So protect the cell against the oxidative stress. So melatonin is one of the good scavengers, uh, scavenging free radicals, including both the reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species. And endo and exogenous antioxidants level. So a lot of enzymes in our part, SOD and catalase and non-enzymatic lipoic acid, glutathione, And exogenous antioxidants molecule get by through animal and vegetables and fruits through our diet can easily get by the exogenous antioxidants by the way protect our cell against oxidative stress. Flavonoid is one of a good molecule to avoid over oxidative stress. Itself have a lot of scavenging ability to easily scavenge reactive oxygen species and as well as modulating antioxidant development mechanisms. Already mentioned the hormesis process. Okay, so the flavonoid is a part of the plant. These phytochemicals to induce our cell signaling mechanisms, by the way, to create the stress, that way the cells become adapted to stress conditions. Okay, but over expression level of so over expression level of the stress uh, controlled by, we have to frequently taken up the polyphenols molecule. Itself naturally have metal chelating ability, therefore to avoid hydrogen peroxide and free radicals released from singlet oxygens. And the genistins is one of the important flavonoid in the part of the soya-based foods. Uh, so, uh, in the food table, in the soya-based food as uh, uh, essential one to avoid the over formation of oxidative stress. And vitamin E, it's naturally present in the oil and fatty fish, and alpha tocopherol, and fortified soya milk, and orange juice, broccoli, carrot, all have the vitamin E is one of the good antioxidant. Uh, so it's directly to control of the foams formations from the monocytes. By the way, to prevent the formation of atherosclerosis. So by the way, we can escape from heart attack and a stroke. And the vitamin C is a good antioxidant and reactive with ROS and reduces metal ion. So in order to control of the pentant reactions, by the way, to control of free radicals like hydrogen peroxide, and as well as this vitamin C reducing the cancers. The polyphenol already mentioned with the reference of the flavonoid. So curcumins also naturally have as one of the good antioxidants. Okay, these are the references. Please go through if possible. You may gain a lot of information about oxidative stress. Finally, I conclude oxidative stress is because of uh, emotional and emotional stress, and then and the pollutant, and the over consumption of the pesticide, contaminated food, herbicide, and so on. So, so we have a lot of the choices. We have to increasing the level of endo and the exo antioxidants level. So through the food diet as well as our frequent physical exercise may be the control of. So thank you very much. You are patiently being the part of the sessions, gathering information about oxidative stress management. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ayepan, for the very informative sharing. We hope everyone benefit from today's session. Now we would like to open a Q&A. If anyone have any questions, you all may put it in the comment box down here for us to answer the questions. If anyone got any question during about today's session, you all may put it in the comment box and we will answer the question. Okay, so with this, we would like to end our session for today's webinar. So thanks again, once again to Dr. Ayapan for the wonderful sharing. And we would like to thank everyone, okay, for joining our session. Okay, thank you.